Welcome to the Hidden White Podcast, episode 1146. I hope you guys are well. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is my latest episode, and it is with Carrie Schmitt. We're discussing creativity. A very powerful conversation, a really enjoyable conversation too, a creative one, if you would say. And her book as well, her newest book she's written 4 now, Awakening Creativity. She has a remarkable story, really, about a rare condition that she basically used to skyrocket her work in this field of creativity, and now she helps others through her podcast, through workshops, through books to celebrate creativity and the journey it has in connecting us more spiritually to the universe. And a really insightful conversation, a deep one at some points, and some practical takeaways for you as well about connecting with your creativity. I think the dots that I connected in this is about how we can use creativity to generate a more passionate, joyful life. And I think there's a lot of lessons and learnings in our conversation. So I hope you get those as well. Would love to know what you think, of course. So check it out, have a listen, and let me know what you think once you've finished. Cheers. Hi, Carrie. Welcome to the Hidden White Podcast. Great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. We've got a lot to talk about. Creativity today.
Yep.
Yeah? One of your favorite topics, I'm guessing.
It is.
You've written a number of books now. How many books now?
4 altogether.
4?
Yeah.
And the most recent one, I think, is Awakening Creativity, which got my interest in bringing you on the show for an interview.
Yeah, thank you.
And I love this.
Excited to talk about it.
Good. I love to think I'm creative. I think we all are creative, and you'll probably have your opinion on that too. But I don't feel like I'm a brilliant creative as such, but maybe that's just some sort of self-talk there. What got you into creativity? I know there's a bit of a backstory there, right?
Yeah, I loved creating when I was a child, but I got away from it in high school
Yeah.
and college. Really turned my back to it, and that's what I say when sort of all hell broke loose in my life. And I just had a rough, time in my 20s. And then in 2009, I was in my early 30s. I developed a life-threatening allergy to heat, and it was all forms of heat, so including my own body heat. And so I could barely move without going into anaphylactic shock. And this
Well,
was sudden. And yeah, so I was bedridden. I couldn't go up and down the stairs or sweep the floor. Anytime my body sensed heat, even if it was just in the air, I would, we'd have to call the paramedic. So basically, I describe it as a death. I kind of felt like I died, but I was there to mourn my own self because everything was kind of taken away from me at that point. And I became severely depressed because I had been really active my whole life. And I just thought, this can't be my life. I can't lay here for 50 years. And it got really dark. Like I was having sort of suicidal thoughts. And one day I just heard this voice say, now that your life is over, you might as well do what you want and paint, which was really interesting because I didn't know I wanted to paint. That wasn't something on my mind. And but I was so desperate, I listened and I started painting in bed, and it saved my life. So I always describe it as it held me and comforted me in a way that no humans could. My family was trying to help me, but I just felt this sense of peace and love, and I felt it as if it were like a presence physically there, just caring for me. And I began to look forward to waking up in the morning because I couldn't wait to paint. And I would lay in
well,
bed at night and just think about what I was going to do. So it was a big shift from not even wanting to be, here to I had so much excitement and anticipation.
that's
And the
good.
biggest
Yeah.
gift, yeah, and the gift from that is I bypassed the doubt and fear and the criticism that a lot of people have, because I was just painting as sort of to survive. And I found that this creative force that I kind of felt guiding me never judged me, it never criticized me, it only loved me. And I vowed to always treat it with the same love and kindness, and to just spread the truth of its power and its love and its healing capacity.
Mm,
So that became my life's work after that, to honor this, what I call a force that saved me. And the most beautiful relationship. I'm so glad that happened. And I still have my heat allergy, but it's a little bit more under control now. So I can do, I can move. Um, but I still have a lot of limitations. So yeah,
Wow.
that's how I
Yeah.
started.
And many years later, now you run workshops, you write books, you got a podcast, helping other people find this creativity in them.
Yeah, it just sort of snowballed into this new life. And it was really, like, I describe it as guided by this creative spirit as I've come to know it and understand it.
Mm,
And I see creativity a little differently, I think, than some what we're taught. It to me, it is a relationship, and I'm never trying to get better at it or be good at it. I always say I'm trying to get closer to it. I want to know
right.
it deeply, and it truly is, in my mind, the most beautiful relationship from which all my other relationships flow. And yeah, I just feel like there's this hole in our hearts that we're looking for other people to fulfill, and I think this is that relationship for me that it's a healthier way to live. I'm not
Mm.
looking to others for what this is only creativity can give me. So
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
An unconditional love for creativity or something like that.
Yes, I do think it loves us unconditionally. I think like our creativity is never unkind to us. It always wants to help us and bring us joy and heal us, and we are often very unkind to it or unkind
Hmm.
to this part of us. And we're taught sort of to either deny it altogether and just say I'm not creative, or say you're not good at it. But I
Mm.
don't think it's a quality. It's not something that some of us have. I think we make it really small. Like creativity isn't small. It is literally the force that has led everything into existence. It's like it's the same thing that guides the flowers and the mountains and the sunsets. That's all creativity. Anything that is in the tangible world has been
Yeah.
created. So it's not
Okay.
like this little quality.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah.
This condition, this heat allergy, I've never heard of that before. It's saying quite unique, eh?
Yeah, it's really rare. I went to many doctors and most of them had never seen it. They'd heard of it, but it's definitely rare, and I've since developed an allergy to the sun. So
Oh wow.
yeah, that's actually possibly worse. It's kind of a toss up, but yeah, it's very debilitating and it is a struggle. It's very depressing. So I'm creativity, I feel like, is saving me every day. Like whenever I get upset if I can't do something, I just feel like I run into its arms. Like I
Yeah.
just turn my attention to like what can I do? What can I make? And creativity is it's always there for us. It's always there for me, and it constantly is like soothing me, and I know it's the only reason I'm still here. And it
Mm,
just
mm.
yeah, it holds me every second of every day and comforts me, and I'm just eternally grateful. So yeah,
I know we're not
it's
here to talk about allergies and that sort of thing, but I'm curious. I mean, how does that work? What is it in your system that's not working to
yeah,
allow that to happen?
it just at one point it sensed that heat. It, I guess, tagged it sort of as the enemy, and so my body just goes into anaphylaxis, and
Right.
there's really
Interesting.
nothing they can do except for me to avoid it, which is really difficult. It's really hard because we are hot bodies.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
but I did, and I was bedridden. I thought, am I dying? Because I'm allergic to myself. That's really scary. I'm allergic to my own body. So it was very, very difficult. But it was like I said, it was my greatest burden and it was my greatest blessing.
Yeah, often that can
And
be the way, huh?
definitely,
You're
yeah.
like some like reptile, no offense. Cold-blooded or something. That's
Yes. Well,
fascinating. And I
yeah.
do it, I'm sorry for that condition, but obviously it's led to great things. So,
Yeah, I mean, the people that I've met along this path, this creative spiritual path, I mean, the experiences I've been able to have, yeah, I wouldn't go back and trade it, even though it's still very difficult and I
mm,
cry a lot and summer is really hard for me, and I watch other people do basic things that I wish I could do, and it can be I
yeah,
can't travel very well, and that really upsets me, and yeah, I just try to accept it
manage
and
it.
run back to creativity. It just yeah, it's constantly holding me. So
Well, it's good you found something because when you get something like that that holds you back and stops you from doing things that you love, finding that creativity for you was the way out to find more
yeah,
meaning in life. even though you've got some serious limitations there. So that's amazing. The you mentioned there, like we have this creativity in our childhood, and I think a lot of people could relate to this. Um, I don't know. My thoughts are that, when I think of creativity, particularly in my childhood, it was about arts and crafts and painting and things like that. And I don't know why it disappears, but maybe it's because it's like, well, your art is no good. Maybe that's what you're told, or maybe that's what you're thinking. And then you just sort of say, well, that's not my path in life, so I'm going to pursue something else. But like you said, like everything that we do has levels of creativity in it, particularly in my field of work as well. So what
Mhm.
what is that? Like, well, number one, what is creativity rather than pigeonholing it just to, beautiful paintings like the one behind you there? What's your definition of that?
So, my definition, based on my personal experience rather than what I've been taught, and I always say, like, be wary of any myth or belief that distances you from your creativity, whether it's a relationship or a habit or belief system or person, because this creativity is our greatest source of our power and our joy and our wellness. I think, the capacity for healing. So, my definition is it's a living, breathing, specific force that has a personality and it has natural laws, and we can see it reflected in everything in nature. And part of our problem, I think, is that we don't understand it. So we have to understand like how it works and what its personality is, and we ask it to be what it's not. So it's not linear. It's not predictable. It's not safe. It's not known. It's not on our timeline. The personality that I've gotten to know and love is that it's messy, it's chaotic, it's carefree, it's unpredictable. It is circuitous. It's not so. For if we don't, we're asking creativity to be something it's not. And I
Hmm.
also think it's more powerful than we are. So, like, yes, we make it this tiny little quality, but it's actually the most powerful force in the universe. And to me, and so I see I'm not in control of it. I'm not in charge. So I put myself in right relation to it, and I accept it for I get to know it, and then I accept it for what it is, and I'm not asking it to be what it's not. And I do think that it is more powerful than we are. So my role is to like just sort of be more of a conduit and to respect that it has a life of its own. And so I think if we see it as more in a relationship, rather than something we can control, which is
Yeah.
I don't know anyone that can control
Yeah. Yeah.
creativity. I don't try. And this is a more peaceful and loving approach. We talk about creativity like it has to be this war and this battle, and that's the language that we use, but it actually can be a loving experience for us. And there's this great quote by George Washington Carver, who invented like over 400 uses for peanut butter, or no, I'm sorry, peanuts, and peanut butter was one of them. But he said, if you love something, it'll tell you all its secrets. And he said that he loved peanuts so much that it told him what to do. And so I think that is a beautiful way into creativity. Everything wants to be loved, everything wants to be respected, and it's just I think we've been taught it's a huge misunderstanding,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you look in the dictionary, if you look under creativity, the only thing it says in the Webster Merriam Dictionary is the quality of being creative. And then if you go to creative, it says like productive. And it's all these very like almost like manufacturing words. It's about like, but it's not about the more passive side of listening and accepting and so yeah, I'm hoping to my goal is to restore creativity back to its rightful place in our hearts and lives, and to honor it and respect it as a
Yeah.
source of like endless gifts for us,
Mm.
endless healing, endless connection. Whatever you need, I feel like creativity will give you. It personalizes all the gifts that we need. So that's my definition, and I hope someday we return to this loving relationship. I think it would change the world. So
Yeah. Good. I love it. You're passionate about it. The
yeah.
I can certainly see that control element there for me personally.
Mhm.
Like, and maybe that's why I don't do some of the more typical creative things like painting or anything like that. Having a need for control and some sort of level of perfectionism, maybe. I don't know. I mean, art, I don't see art as being perfect in any way. But maybe that's why it sort of escaped me as well. But what are your thoughts on why people avoid or move away from that creative process that's naturally within?
Yeah, I just think the way that we've been taught, the myths, and they're all just myths, they're all arbitrary, about what creativity is and how we should judge it.
Yeah.
And it's either good or bad. And always say, like, that's the most boring thing about your creativity, like, or about your art. Is it good? Like, it's a boring question, you know? Um, I would say there's a million other questions to ask. Is it wild? Is it free? How did you feel when you were making it? How did this change you? And really, I think it's just that we're taught only certain people are artists, only certain people can create. And the most popular phrase I think in America is "I'm not creative." I feel like everyone has said that. And there's this man, Jacob Norby, who calls it the unholy mantra. And I think that is such a denial of our innate nature. And to me, creativity is the spirit within us. It's our life force. And so we're just denying the most powerful part of us. And I don't think it's
Hmm.
accidental that this is taken away from us. Um, but yeah, it's
But why do you
unfortunate.
think it's taken away from us?
Because I do think it makes us powerful, and when we're creators we don't need as much, we don't need to consume, we create, and I
Interesting.
think people realize that they have the power to change situations and whole entire paradigms, because artists are always
Do you think there's a level of
silent.
wanting of control over people? Like if you take away
Yeah,
people's creativity, there's more control you have over
yeah.
them? You do?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
there's this quote by Marianne Williamson's that if you control people's spirits, or you're controlling them. Like it's the most
Hmm.
effective way
That's interesting.
to
Yeah.
control people. They're oppressing themselves. And I think we are all oppressing our
Yeah, wow.
creativity and our spirit and possibility. Creativity
Hmm.
is possibility. It's the possibility to change. And the other thing, I think this is probably the most beautiful thing about creativity, is when I started to paint and feel this spirit within me awaken, which is, the book is called Awakening Creativity, because it was awakening all these beautiful qualities within me, like reverence and devotion and patience and resilience and persistence, and what I would call these divine qualities in us. I could feel my own direct experience with this, like, unseen world where creativity comes from. Creativity, like hope and love, those are unseen. We can't see these things. Um, but I could feel this coming through me, and I realized this is in everyone else too. This is in everything on earth, everything that has a physical form. There's something moving through it, just like whatever's making the acorn grow into a tree, like whatever internal force that is creativity. And so I
Yeah.
realized
Yeah.
this is in everyone. And what I love more than anything is creativity. And what I love lives in you. I love creativity. That lives in you. We are one. So what I love is inside of you. That is powerful.
Hmm.
If we start to realize that this beautiful spirit in me is the same within you. And I mean, this isn't new, like, faith traditions have been saying this forever. But how do you harm uh, anyone else when that is that most precious thing in them?
Hmm.
And so we remember our oneness. I do think that is the most powerful aspect of creativity, that we remember the spirit is, it's the thread that connects all of us to each other. And so when we deny it in us, we're denying it in everyone else too. And I do think we forget our connection. And what I love about that, there's no religious dogma. This is not connect. You can believe whatever you want to believe, but when you feel that creative force, and so many artists throughout centuries have talked about this, that feeling of something coming through you, working with you. The art is not all from you. Everyone who's created knows, like, this is not all from me. This is something else is coming into this. Um,
Yeah.
then that is in everyone else, and it's just powerful.
Hmm.
I when I look at people, it's what I think. I always think, like, what I love lives in you, and it reminds me to try to be a better person. So I'm not perfect, but I
What's
mean,
the I mean, humans generally, do you think have this higher level of creativity? Because what I'm sort of putting together here is that this energy field in the universe is connected somehow to that level of creativity. Energy and creativity are potentially the
yeah.
same. I don't know. What are your thoughts there? This is going a bit deep, but
Yeah, I mean, to me, it is the breath. I would say it's the breath of the universe. It is whatever is, we start as babies, we change form, whatever is within us, like it's evolution. I mean, it's the force behind evolution. It's constant shifting, constant transformation. There's no stagnation, and so for us to just see our creativity in this light and to have reverence for it. And the initial intention of art was to get closer to the divine, to get closer to whatever, that was, that unseen, and to honor and celebrate that and bring people together. But now we've been taught that art is something that you have to be good at and you have to do it a certain way, and other people should judge it. And that to me is the birth of like the inner critic. Whereas if you're creating out of devotion and love to something else, there's the inner critic doesn't even exist in that realm. There's no
yeah,
trying to get better at it. You're trying to get closer to something, and even if it's closer to something within you, like I'm trying to practice qualities when I paint that I want to embody in my life. So I'm trying to practice patience, and I'm trying to practice resilience and faith that everything in my painting will be okay. Then that's awakening those qualities in me to
mm,
take out into the world. So, and that's why I think it is a powerful practice, and also why the process matters more than the result, because it's who we're becoming as we create, and we're so focused on outcome
yeah,
that we miss all the gifts. All the gifts are
of the
in the
process.
process.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, everything
But do
you
you think
need.
creativity is like a connection to the spiritual world? And like you just sort of said traditionally there, that's how it was used.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've understood and read, that was the original intention, was to get closer to the divine or your
Yeah,
ancestors
well, you
or
think
to.
about some of the uh, what do you call it, the tribal ceremonies and things that they did, very creative, chaotic kind of
Mhm.
ceremonies, really. But that was to get them to that spiritual
Yeah,
world.
there's some beautiful traditions. There's a Navajo tradition when they would weave. They would add this line at the end that made it imperfect, but it was called a spirit line because they believed that their spirit could get stuck in this piece. So they created a line so the spirit could leave the piece. So I mean, it's not a new concept, and a lot of traditions see that that is actually a spirit in the flesh, in intangible form. And it feels, that's what feels true to my experience, which I think is so cool, that when we make art or create anything, we get to have our own experience. So this
Hmm.
is like self-discovery. Like I don't have to preach anything, but it's like if people do this, then they can come to their own conclusions. What happens when you create? But if you're negative and you're telling yourself you can't do it and you're criticizing it, you're gonna have a totally different experience or trying to
Yeah,
control it.
yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned before, like creativity is chaotic and messy and all that. And I often look at people that I see as, more creative. My daughter is one of them. Total
Ah,
chaotic, messy, but very creative. I don't know if there's a correlation there, or can organized people be creative as well?
yeah, I think there's room for all personalities. I think I teach, and that some students have they have a harder time letting go. Like some people, they want to control everything. They want it to be neat and tidy. And I see that they struggle more at the beginning, when it's like we're just kind of playing and we're getting loose and we're just allowing possibility. So there is definitely a component of surrendering and letting go and not trying to be in control. So for like I don't like being in charge of anything. I always say I would still live with my parents if I could. It's like I'm surrendering. Like, I don't want to be in charge. I don't want to, because I just like that idea that something else comes in and just kind of takes over and I don't have to worry about it. So that part's easy for me. But it can be. I have friends that are, more organized, and I don't know what their process is like, but yeah, there's this element of just letting go and like relaxing into the process and working with the natural qualities of creativity. So
Yeah.
you're not trying to resist and work against. I tell this story, like I was swimming one day and this woman was just like smacking the water and just fighting it and breathing heavy, and it's just
Mm.
she was struggling. And when I swim, it's like I caress the water, I work with the natural qualities of it, and when you caress it and you're gentle, it doesn't slap you back, and you're not exerting extra energy. And so when you understand how to work with the qualities of creativity, that's why getting to know it is so important. And then when you work with it, you don't have that resistance, and
Yeah.
so
It's a good
creativity
metaphor.
will
Mm.
smack. It is, it's like whatever energy you show up with when you make something, that's what you'll be greeted with. So if you resist, you will meet resistance, and it'll smack you down. Like, I've never won a fight with creativity. I mean, it'll take you on a ride, but just, yeah, working with its qualities and just letting it be what it is,
Mm.
and but that, if we can release our need for a certain outcome, that freedom, I think then creativity is allowed to be itself. And yeah, I think letting go is key, and it's hard for us because we
Uh,
want to think. Yeah.
if you looked into the public spotlight right now across a variety of fields, who would you point out as maybe some key creatives that you see up there in the public spotlight?
Oh, that's a good question. I actually love like just looking around at everyday people, because I feel like there can be a lot of like either corruption once you start getting into this certain world where you're trying to impress or trying to make it, and maybe some compromises that you make. But I love looking at just everyday people doing creative acts. I met an 80-year-old woman in yoga, and she writes poetry every day, and she sends me her poems, and the intent is so pure, and she's not trying to impress anyone. It's an expression of this love inside her, and I am so inspired by, just everyday people
Mm.
that I can't even think about. I mean, I love certain writers, but just women in my classes, hearing these people's stories, and what they're doing is just beautiful. So I'll
Yeah.
have to think. I'll think
I
about.
sort of look out there and I go, okay, well, who are some creatives? And I mean, the people
Yeah,
that I sort of look up to and go, oh, well, they're doing amazing things like Richard Branson or Elon Musk even, and they're not the people that you see art from, but
yeah.
they're obviously very creative. And I feel like some of the success that these people have that I'm thinking about, they don't have that resistance and they have this real good creative flow. And then I sort of put that back into life perspective. And one of the things I'm quite passionate about is people living a free, fulfilled life. And that's a life that's aligned with them without restriction. And I think me personally and a lot of people that I know have this level of restriction and limitation that doesn't allow that creativity to flow.
Mm,
And if we could only allow that creativity to flow in and not just painting, but whatever creative
yeah.
style that relates to us or resonates with us, then perhaps we could live that life more fully. And the reason why I'm sort of putting those dots together is because you said, you were lying in bed and then you started painting and then you really started feeling this freedom in life.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important to slow down. Like, one of the qualities I would say creativity thrives in is the slower pace,
Mm.
the silence and the stillness. My friend will describe creativity as, shy, and that it doesn't go where it's not wanted, and it doesn't come often in like a loud, way. It's like a whisper, and it's intimacy, and so it has to feel safe. And I do like that. But I also think, like in art, restrictions and limitations can be so liberating. So sometimes when you put those parameters on something, the creativity within that can really explode. And I've had that experience when painting. If I've taken a class or something and we could only do certain things, and then it's like within these confines, it's like, wow, I can really, my mind and my art just kind of expand. So well, I see creativity as a relationship that's constantly with me. Like I'm swimming in it. It's always around me. It's not like a muse that might come or it might go, because often artists will be like, well, the muse didn't show up today, or like it's a little thing. I just see it as like I am constantly surrounded by it, and it's all around me. It's the spirit that I'm in constant contact with. So any situation I go into, I can awaken that creative spirit within me and within the space. So even as something as simple as like, what do I wear? Like, am I bringing like joy and lightness or beauty or color? Those are things that awaken creativity. And or just how I'm treating people, or I'm always trying to bring this energy. Like, do I suggest we sing a song, or am I more playful? So to me it's like these qualities within us that we can nurture and we can awaken. So we are embodying, I sometimes say, creative spirit, or these divine, the better angels of our nature. We can awaken that, and you can see how people light up when you do something creative, or you share something with them, or I gave a rose away every day for a year, and it wasn't, I didn't do it for this reason, but I just came to realize that it's a creative act. I was like co-creating with this spirit that was kind of guiding me to these people, and they would like light up and their posture would change. And so we have this opportunity within wherever we are to, bring that love and joy, and creativity is contagious. So, it's generative. It kind of takes on a life of its own. And you can see that. So I think we are so powerful to inform spaces. We can actually shift the energy of other people and moods, and then actually create a chain reaction of events that, we've all seen that. So that to me is like, creativity is, again, so much bigger than a painting or my studio. It is in every second. It is a possibility to invoke, and so I think if we did that, we would be more in our power.
Do you consciously think about how you can bring creativity into a situation, or is it something that seems to flow for you? Like, you mentioned dressing up and things like that.
Yeah, I feel like I am conscious of it, because it actually like breaks my heart that I think I live in a culture that doesn't acknowledge soul or spirit. Like we don't have people singing, everyone's afraid to sing because they've been told they can't sing because they don't sound good. And so it's like this sort of numbness and deadening of our senses and our joy. And I do try to, because I say I live in devotion to this. So I'm constantly trying to awaken creativity. Like my friends and I were on this is such a good story. We were on a ferry going to this little island near us, and we had some like musical instruments, and so we just started singing. And then there was a little baseball team, and we asked them do you have any requests, and they requested Take Me Out to the Ball Game. I don't know if you know that song, but so we started singing that, and soon the entire ferry, every age, every walk of life, everyone's singing Take Me Out to the Ball Game. And then at the end, the boys are just like beaming and jumping up and down, and everyone's like hugging and cheering. And then these like whales jumped out of the water, and someone's like, our singing brought the whales. And it was like this really cool moment that I was like, we always have this opportunity. And what it created was connection. I could see like the joy was contagious, and then everyone's like hugging and cheering, and all of a sudden we were like one. We were one body, and creativity can do that any moment. Because I think like whatever is in me, that spirit is in you. And so when we awaken that in each other, I feel like we remember our oneness. And I mean, I do think in other times of periods and cultures, like this is a way to create union and create peace and understanding. And you know, when you sing together, your bodies start to all regulate and breathe at the same time. And it's just fascinating. But it is,
Yeah,
I think
it's
we could
amazing.
do that at any moment because we're all walking around like kind of like zombies sometimes. And yeah, I get really depressed here because I don't see anyone awakening their creativity, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah. Kind of like
it's really
removes the boundaries and allows people just to be free, essentially connected.
yes, it's like exactly what you're saying. It's like permission to other
Yeah,
people to also express their joy or what they love. And yeah, it's sad. So yeah,
that's
I'm
it. That's a
always
cool story. Um, what what can we do to tap into this creativity for people listening? Let's get into some tools now that you'd probably use for your students, etc. How can we tap into creativity? How can we let creativity flow more? Um, my story of creativity, really, that I'm thinking of right now is food. I love cooking,
Oh
and I'm
yeah.
quite good at it. But just cooking food and bringing people around and sharing that food for me is something that brings me a lot of joy. And it's nothing other than that.
Hmm.
But I can relate to that creative process in that and how that relates to my joy. But bringing into other fields of work, I don't know. What do we do?
Yeah. Well, I think first of all, I would say really try to get to understand creativity. And if you have some negative myths, like any myths that are distancing you from it or convincing you that you're not good enough, you're not worthy, we can drop that entire belief system. That, you know, the whole good enough, I don't believe in that. I don't like using the words good or bad. I think it's irrelevant. And it tells us nothing about the art. It only tells us about the person perceiving the art. It is all about them. It says nothing about the art. So I'd say get to know creativity in a new way. You know, start to understand it as a relationship. Like, what would that mean? And get to know its personality. I think, you know, reaching out to mentors or guides or teachers that understand this. And then, yeah, small incremental ways like I do believe we can influence our inner world through the tangible world. So, as simple and silly as it sounds, like me wearing color and clothes that bring me joy, it does affect my internal landscape. So, you can use things from the external world to help you. Like, my
It's
book is
interesting,
a
yeah.
creative, yeah, my book is a pilgrimage because pilgrims are like experts at understanding this, that the external world influences and affects you inside. So, like, they use touchstones and different objects to remind themselves. And I would say, you know, surround yourself with creative people. I think cooking is such a brilliant way to express creativity because it's usually communal. It's an offering. You're giving love to other people. You're infusing it with love, and you know, others get to enjoy it. I mean, that is an entire creative act, you know, right there. So that's a great way. And then maybe, you know, inviting other people to do that, or just little things you can do. You could ask everyone to contribute something, like bring a poem or a quote or anything. I think that brings you joy. I mean, I guess the like quick hack is like whatever you like to do that's playful. Like just find play and find curiosity, and you will find creativity. Because I think creativity, that's when it comes to us. It loves play. That's another
Mm,
like part of its personality. It comes to us in play. It comes to us in our curiosity and just allowing yourself to be a child. And yeah, it's gonna be letting go of some old habits and old
mm.
beliefs, but um, little things I think
So if
add up.
someone
And
came to you and said, "Oh, look, I'm just not creative," what would you say to them, and how would you help them go, "Okay, well, let's just reverse that idea that you're not creative."
yeah, I would say I would ask a few more questions and just, you know, hopefully say we have to know what creativity is. And, you know, you can't, everything we do is creative, you know, and if we're not actively and consciously creating our lives, then like who is creating them, you know, for us? We are creators. Every single thing we do, it would be impossible to move, you know, without but I would just say, yeah, I think you would probably benefit from a mentor, from somebody. It's almost like you have this creative wound, or I've heard them called injuries, and you probably need a little bit of a hand. I don't know if you can. I think it is possible to sort of self heal, but being around people, I have an online class, helping, being in that community of people that support you and talk about creativity. And then just for me, it was just creating and painting and understanding, the process, and then what my values are, because I don't really care what my paintings look like, and that isn't the reason I was ever painting in the first place. So just letting go of outcome, going back to what you loved as a child, and acceptance. It's all about self-acceptance, and I think that
Mm.
is another lesson and
I
gift.
mean, I think starting that process, just starting, some sort of creative activity,
Yeah.
to allow that to flow, but starting obviously sometimes is hard as well.
Mhm.
I like this idea of, you said I don't care,
Yeah.
about how it looks, or I don't know what the
Yeah.
terminology there is, but there is obviously a level of care in your work that allows you to do it. I don't know, how does that fit together? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I guess I really feel like I don't need to worry about the art. Like it's just inevitable. I do think like the natural law to me of creativity is it starts in order, or I'm sorry, it starts in chaos and it comes into order, and it everything wants to find its way. Like creation wants to be created. So it will, and I just have to stay present and be the hands and the eyes and the ears. But I always tell my paintings before I start, like, I'm gonna love you no matter what. I know I am, because I already feel like it's determined and it's gonna be whatever it is. And I had a
mm,
friend say, "You can't force a poem to be what it's not." He was a poet, and I was like, "Yeah, I can't force this painting to be anything other than what it's going to be." There's just, I'm offering my best here. This is all I can do in this moment. I have full acceptance of that. I accept any technical limitations, because this, to me, it is like it's a devotional act. It's an offering. It's a chance for me to become closer to this part of me that, like, I love this phrase by Rumi, and he said, "There's a place within us that is sweet beyond telling." And I was like, I want to live from that place within me that's sweet beyond telling. So I'm always trying to honor that, work from that place, and just get to know that part of myself. So the art is
mm.
sort of this after thing, and it's like it's finished. To me, it is the least interesting part of the experience. Um, but yeah, I mean, I let them be what they are. I
So
don't.
there's no judgment, there's no need for comparison.
No, because I mean, this is all like this is it. This is what I can do. Every time I'm like, that was the best I could do in this moment. I like beating myself up isn't gonna change anything. It's gonna be the
Yeah.
same painting, and it's so fun to be surprised. Like love being surprised when I work. I don't know what's gonna happen, and you're evolving constantly. So I don't know what my art will look like in 10 years. I just know that I love showing up and playing with paint, and I feel like a child when I'm doing it. And,
I think if you could
I'm
take
not,
away how you're operating there and put it into everyday life for people, just by
yeah,
showing up and just by creating and just by doing and not having a need for comparison and not feeling like you're going to be judged or not judging yourself and having
yeah.
a
Well,
joyful process, great things will come.
yeah. And I think one thing is like I had this big shift when I say, like, when I stopped worshiping other people's opinions and instead worshiped this creative spirit within me, like my entire life changed, because I have to redirect myself all the time. Like I like sometimes go to the water. I live on the Salish Sea, and I will like sing and do these little hand gestures and prayers, and people walk by and I'm like, oh, this is weird. But then I'm like, who am I bowing to here? Am I bowing to these people's opinions of me, or am I bowing to this beautiful force that makes the tides move and the sunset? And it's like I have a choice here, and I'm gonna choose creativity. And so I think you because we're so programmed, it's like a relearning, it's a retraining. So when you ask like what can people do, I think it is gradual. It's not, I don't think it'll happen immediately, but I have to do a lot of like self inner talk and redirection and like what is my value here? Who am I worshiping? And it's like I'm not gonna worship these people's opinions. So that is a whole relearning of not caring what other people think. And the cool thing about, I think, these little steps are generative, so it like kind of sneaks up on you. Like you start small, just little things. Maybe you start sketching or you join a choir. That's, they're just little things. But over time, it like snowballs, and like all of a sudden,
Mm.
it's taking on a life of its own. Like I just started painting in bed so I just could survive. And then, like, a few years later, I'm like, what happened? I'm teaching classes, I'm selling paintings, I'm writing books, and it's like, it just kind of sneaks up on you. So I
Yeah.
don't think you have to start big. You just start small, be consistent, and surround yourself with people that are going to encourage you instead of tell you like you can't do this or
Feels like you
criticize.
had no expectation about what
Yeah,
was to come from what you're doing,
yeah, it
and yet good things
absolutely
have
not.
come.
It was a beautiful relationship. It was
Mm.
about sort of that and not any outcome. And I do think when you look at people, yeah, when I look at and read stories of writers or artists or anyone, like it seems like the same thing. It was like their intention wasn't this end game. It was like it just spiraled into something they had never expected. I feel like
Mm. Mm.
those are the people that I'm like, wow, that is a wild story, but they had it was so innocently done on their
Yeah, yeah,
part,
yeah.
and then it's
But
like,
I like that free process of that thing and what happens through that. I think that's quite profound. If you could teach people how to do that, it would be amazing.
yeah.
When you're doing your art, or maybe not, but I assume it happens for everyone. You get to a block and you're just like stuck. Do you ever get stuck? And I know you hear about writer's block, for example. What do you do in those situations where you feel like you don't have that level of inspiration? How do you create?
Yeah. Yeah. So I never feel blocked when I'm painting because I just keep going. Like I don't care if it looks good or not good. It's like I trust the process so much that I just have to keep moving the paint
Hmm.
and then there'll be like a shift. But I have to keep going. Like that is my job in this physical body. I don't think I'm supposed to judge it. I don't think that's our role at all. Or criticize it. That's when we start to block. But it's like I just have to move. Every move I make is getting it closer to where it wants to go. Whether I cover it up, if I'm painting and I cover it, it's still led to that next thing. So it's like that understanding and trusting the process. And I trust it because I've done it thousands of times and it works every time. So that's why I think sometimes it's nice to have a teacher because for my students, they're like, I don't trust this yet. But I'm like, but I do. I've done this. Trust me, I've done this thousands of times, and then they can like kind of latch onto that and be like, okay, well, and then they've all told me because they've been with me for years now. Like they have this moment where they're like, oh my gosh, I get it. Like I trust it and it's happening because now they've had this experience like 100 times, and they're like, it actually works, And
Yeah.
I just went through this with my book because writing is I'm not as familiar with it. I would say like my editor, she's devoted her life to it. She has a more intimate relationship with it. Like some people might say she's better at it or whatever, but I just see it as like she has put the time into that relationship as she understands it. So I had a lot of not faith like while I was writing, but I had faith in her. I was like, okay, I don't think I know what I'm doing and I don't know what this is nuts, but I couldn't have faith in myself, so I had faith in her and latched onto her, and she carried me through that. So that's another thing. Like we don't have to do this alone, and if we're just not there yet, but she's written hundreds of books. She's edit, so she trusts the process, and now
Mm.
she's allowing me to trust that because that was kind of a new thing for me. And I'm just not as familiar with it. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
now we're working on another one, and I have a little more trust in the process because I'm like, okay, this actually works. So we can help each other. You don't have to do it alone. And yeah, I think it can be really liberating once you start to feel like, okay, I understand how this works.
What final question for you, and it relates to tech, particularly now with AI coming in. How do you feel tech and creativity gel, or are they opposites?
Yeah, I mean, I hope they're not. I hope they're compatible, but I just see tech hopefully is just a tool for us to express our creativity, and I guess it depends how we use it. It would be like a tool like my paintbrushes or my paint. How are we going to use this to expand our creativity? But I
Hmm.
see creativity as like a relationship. So I don't know. It's like it's all about that for me. So if something is easier, like if there's AI or something like that, but I'm missing out on the process of becoming, because like part of that, even writing the book, it was really a long process for me, and I had to do. There was a lot of growth and trust, and it turned me into a different person. So I don't know.
Yeah.
To me, it'll always be a relationship, and then if I can't make money off of it, it's okay. It's just it's supposed to be this relationship for me. So I
Hmm.
don't know what's gonna happen like with AI. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I sort of feel like it somewhat has the ability to take away our cognitive function and creative processes, but at the same time, it has a great ability to enhance that as well, depending on how you use it.
Yeah, yeah, because sometimes I think like, well, I don't have an assistant, but if I had an assistant, I'd be like, here's some notes, do my newsletter. And so in that case, I'm like, I mean, I probably benefit from writing it, but it's no different sometimes than having an assistant person. Like you
Yeah.
don't have to do everything. If it frees me up so that I can write my book, then
Well,
yeah, I
it's a
don't.
very, very, very clever assistant too. Like it knows everything, so
Yeah, exactly.
can be very
That's
handy.
true. Yeah.
It's been a great conversation, Carrie. Thank you for coming on. Carrie, your website, carrieschmittdesign.com,
That's
is
right.
that best for
Yeah.
you?
Yes.
Books on Amazon. I'll put some links in the show notes as well for your books. And yeah, appreciate you coming on. Any final thoughts, Carrie? Anything you'd like to leave us with?
Oh, well, just, thank you for having me. And I'm always here if people have questions. I love to talk about creativity. And
We can
yeah,
tell.
so feel free to reach out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Guys, check it
Yeah.
out at thehiddenwhy.com. Thank Carrie for coming on the show. Connect with her. Links within the show notes there as well. And until next time, peace, passion, and purpose. See you soon. All right, what did you think? Hope you enjoyed our conversation. Carrie Schmitt, her links will be available in the show notes, episode 1146. So check that out at thehiddenwhy.com. Guys, we're revamping things here at The Hidden Why. I've been running this project for over a decade and I'm really looking to level it up this year. Looking to write a new book as well, so watch this space for that one. And potentially launching a new solo segment on the show as well. If you've got any ideas of what you'd love to hear me talk about in this solo segment, let me know. You can reach me through socials, Facebook, Instagram, or just jump onto the website. All the links will be there as well. Would love to hear from you guys. I'm passionate about helping others live more fully, have more meaning, and find more joy. That's my mission, that's my journey, and I want to do the same for others as well. So hope you're enjoying it here at the Hidden Why Podcast. Hope you really enjoyed this episode with Carrie, and make sure you reach out to her as well. Check out the show notes again, episode 1146 at thehiddenwhy.com. Until next time, peace, passion, and purpose. Chat soon.